all the time, that is a sign of their less iman in Allah and the Day of Judgment. For the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana yu'min." So he's not giving you only to encouragement and an order and a command. He's also, the other dimension of the hadith is that he's telling you the sign of those who believe. Lakin al-Quran does not stop here. So say something good or stop, that's to help yourself now. Lakin also Al-Quran tells us that the power of the word may exceed that of affecting yourself. Actually, the word you say, simple words you say, may affect your family. Look, how does that work? I'll give you the dalil. I know some people are waiting to say, where's your dalil? I'll give you the dalil, don't worry. Dalil from Quran Kareem. Lakin, so just, you can rest assured, there's dalil. Lakin the point is, what do you mean you can affect, with a word I can affect my family? Yes. Try this. Go to your home after a long day and at the beginning say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everyone? I love you for the sake of Allah. Try this. You see, all of a sudden the atmosphere is relaxed. People, even if there are problems, you see, once you give Assalamu alaikum, mashallah. Now try to go, open the door, say, what happened? Where is the food? Why are you doing this? What happens to the house? Atmospheres of everybody gets upset. The wife starts yelling at the children. Displacement of anger here. Taking all these things. The children gets now, they don't know what to do. Turn the TV off, do this. Where's your homework? Notice? It affects one word you say, it doesn't only affect you, it makes an effect in the environment. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling us, if you have something good to say it, or keep quiet. That doesn't mean you should not follow your responsibility. But lakin, follow your responsibility بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ, in a good akhlaq, in a good words. No, Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, and you all know, I'm not telling you anything new, you already know that. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and the Sahabi, and Jaleel, and you probably know that his story was simple. When the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi moved to Al-Madinah, Al-Munawwara, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, some of the people of the Ansar, they tried to look for the most valuable thing in their house, and they went and took it as a hadiyah, gift for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to show him the symbol of love. The mother of Anas, Anas, she's poor. She doesn't have anything. She has nothing in her home. She looked around. She said, I looked around in my house. I didn't see anything. The only thing is me and my son. So I picked up my son Anas, 10, 12 years old, and I took him to the Prophet ﷺ. I said, Ya Rasulullah, I have nothing in my house that's valuable to give you, and the most valuable thing to me is not something, but it is my son, Anas. So here he is, a servant for you, Ya Rasulullah. This is an understanding. This woman, you may argue that she was not educated at the University of Wales right here, or the University of Oxford, or Harvard. Yeah, I agree with you, she was not. But she was educated in a madrasa called Muhammadun Rasulullah. And a madrasa that teaches people high level of understanding. A level of understanding that makes her think for a very far vision. So Sayyidina, she gave the Prophet ﷺ the most precious thing, but really she's the one who's gaining, she's not the one who's losing. For being with the Prophet ﷺ is an honor, even if it's an hour. If someone meets the Prophet ﷺ for an hour, we call him Sahabi. Imagine Anas who spent 10 years with him. 1 decade. He says, I served Rasulullah ﷺ 10 years. Subhanallah, 10 years. But here's what I want to say. Sayyidina Anas, when he said that, he says, Wallahi, I have never heard him say a bad word, not even once. In 10 years. Not even once. Not even once. But it affects your environment. Al-Quran, now we can prove that. because we just proved that you affect your family. Like in the Quran takes it even a notch higher. The Quran tells us that the words you say doesn't only affect yourself, doesn't only affect your environment, your people, but it actually affects the weather. It affects the weather. What does it mean? It affects the rain. Affects the movement of the clouds. Not only that. It doesn't only affect the heavens, it affects the earth. It makes geological changes. It has a power over, your word has power over the rivers. Does it? No. Also, it affects the biostatistics and epidemiology. For those of you who are statisticians, it affects the fertility rate in people. One word you say. What do you mean you're saying all these words affect the fertility? One word you say. One word you say. Quran Kareem. Let's go to Surah Nuh alayhi salam. فَقُلْتُ Sayyidina Nuh saying to his people, he gave them da'wah for such a long time and all these things, and he saw them, they're struggling. Hatta even the word that you say, the Quran tells us, it affects the stock market. Now stock market is plummeting, huh? People who have, they're in deep trouble. It affects the economy and the exchange rate. What word you say? فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. And the Quran tells us Nuh alayhi salam saw his people, they are economically suffering. They have economical problems. Socially they're suffering, they don't have children. Allah did not give them children. Also, they depend on farming. And farming needs water from the skies and needs rivers. They don't have that. Allah did not give them that. And Quran is telling Nuh alayhi salam on behalf of Nuh. Nuh is telling him, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. All you have to do, say a word of istighfar. Make istighfar to Allah. استغفروا ربكم. He's telling his people, إنه كان, number one, what are the results of istighfar? Look at what you say, أستغفر الله العظيم. And remember, I began to talk by saying, the words are not in the mouth. Where are the words? In the heart. So, not like some people say, and they're thinking what they're going to do after this. No. And they're going like someone is beating them to hurry up. And it's this kind of istighfar, I always say, requires an istighfar. You have to do an extra istighfar just for this kind of istighfar. No? Like an istighfar that comes from the heart, which is confirmed by the tongue and the deeds. The talk, al-kalam fil fuad, the kalam is in the heart. So if it comes from the heart, not from the tongue, then it is confirmed by the deeds and confirmed by the tongue. Then it says, so the tawbah comes from inside, then the tongue says, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. Not the other way around. The other way around is superficial. Al-Quran wants you to change from inside, not from the outside only. If you change on the inside, the actions and the reflection will be on the outside. But if you change from the outside, take a tree. If a tree has very bitter fruit or bitter fruit, very not very tasteful, and you bring the big, most expensive honey, and you just paint the whole tree honey. Now, will the tree bring you now honey, sweet fruit? Well, once it's bitter, it's always going to be bitter. No matter how, even if you inject honey inside, try to inject honey inside, there's nothing wrong. Lakin, if the tree is sweet from the beginning, if the tree is good from its essence, no matter how much you have dust on it, the fruit will always be sweet. Even if there's some sins little here and there, salah changes that. Wudu removes those sins. Things happen and things change. Lakin you have to change the core, not the appearances. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam is giving people and giving us also the power, a very powerful word. فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. Number one, if you say istighfar, Allah will forgive your sins. The most important thing, I always ask people, when And it's okay now that I give you the answer, but you should also contemplate about it. What is the